It's do or die here at Show Airport Field as the Charlottesville Tom Sox take on the Front Royal Cardinals in Game 3 of a best-of-3 series. Hello and welcome to Tom Sox TV. I'm Alex Rocco, joined alongside by my broadcast partner Nathan Schwartz. And Nathan, Front Royal came into town just a couple of days ago and put up an absolute offensive onslaught, winning that game 17-6. But it was a different story in last night's contest.
Yeah, the Tom Sox, over two nights, you had the Friday night game where we only played a little over an inning before a postponement forced Charlottesville to go back to Front Royal and Bing Crosby Stadium yesterday, and then the bats just came alive. 10 runs in the Saturday resumption of the game, and it was highlighted by 8 extra base hits for the Tom Sox. And the two guys that really made the difference, Aiden Teal and Jacob Ferentz, the new duo at the University of Virginia, each had 3 extra base hits. Teal with 2 homers and a double, Ferentz with 3 doubles, and then Chris Arroyo and Brady Gumpf each added a double as well. So those 4 guys right there, and then you keep that going with stellar pitching from Mark Perkins and Hayden Smith. It was really just the perfect recipe for success for the Tom Sox yesterday, and it was really a complete flip of the script, a complete 180 turn from what we saw here on Thursday night.
You mentioned the pitching and Mark Perkins and Hayden Smith both dominating in yesterday's contest, and Lyndon Coleman and his staff hoping to get the same out of tonight's starter, Mike Eggert. Eggert actually started Game 2, pitched the first inning before that game was postponed, but he'll begin the contest facing off against the leadoff hitter and center fielder, Nicholas Capozzi. Hayden Harris on deck and Cameron Douglas there, 1, 2, 3 hitters in the Front Royal lineup. We'll go through the rest of their hitters as this game prolongs. Mike Eggert ready, Nicholas Capozzi ready, and we are underway here at Show Airport Field as Capozzi waits for a first pitch strike from Eggert.
And Alex, you mentioned Mike got the start in Game 2 on Friday night. He only went that first inning due to the postponement, gave up a double with 2 outs, and he gives up a leadoff single right there.
Capozzi lines us one into left field. Tracking it is the left fielder Garrett Spikes, but Nicholas Capozzi is on with a leadoff single, and the bats continue to heat up here at Show Airport Field for Front Royal.
Well, if you remember, Alex, the difference in that Thursday game was the amount of hits Front Royal had with 2 outs. Over the first 3 innings, they had 12 hits, 11 of them came from 2 outs, but right out of the gate today, Capozzi wasting no time getting on base.
Capozzi picks up his 6th hit so far in this postseason. Now that brings up the second baseman, Hayden Harris, who watches a pitch miss in tight from Eggert. Harris so far in the playoffs, 3 for 10 during the regular season, hit .242. Eggert takes a look back at Capozzi and now will attempt the pickoff move. Capozzi gets back in, diving head first.
A little more on Eggert. Over his 9 appearances in the regular season, only made 2 starts, was 1-0, had 3 saves over 21 innings and a .085 ERA.
The 1-0 from Eggert, this one fouled off the front foot of Hayden Harris. And while we have some time, we'll preview the Tom Sox defense. Getting the start behind the dish, Salvi Alvarez playing first, Chris Arroyo at second, Bryce Martinez. Shortstop is Kyle Edwards, and over there at the hot corner, Henry Ford. The outfield from left to right goes Garrett Spikes, David Wiley, and Nathan Fink. Aiden Teal DHing today as Harris pops this one up near the first base bag. Getting underneath it is the first baseman, Chris Arroyo, who puts it away for the first out of the ballgame.
The Tom Sox have had their fair struggles recently of being able to catch those type of pop-ups in foul territory, but it's always good to see the fundamental side of the baseball game come out immediately, and right there Arroyo's able to get the easy out. Those are the kind of plays you have to make in a game like this.
We've seen a lot of different players play over there at first base. Arroyo getting the start. Henry Ford has played at first as Capozzi takes off for second. Alvarez throw down, not in time. Nicholas Capozzi swipes second base as he avoids the tag from Bryce Martinez, and Front Royal has a runner on with 1 out in scoring position.
Well, Alex, the throw was there. Salvi Alvarez, a great job with the transfer and the pop time to get that ball to second base. Martinez was able to apply the tag in time, but it was a really good slide by Capozzi going to the back right corner of the bag, was able to get that hand in there before Martinez could slap the glove.
It's the 7th stolen base on the year for Capozzi as Cameron Douglas waves through the next offering from Eggert. This is Douglas's first appearance so far this postseason. During the regular season, he played in 21 games, hit .281 with a home run and 12 RBIs. Arroyo, the first baseman, playing on the lip of the grass. The 1-1 from Eggert misses just off the plate for ball 2.
And a big thing for Mike tonight, he's not going to blow you away with his fastball. Sits in the mid to upper 80s with it. So for him, he's going to have to locate on that outside corner to righties and lefties, and especially keeping the ball down. It's going to be crucial for him, and he's been doing it all season long.
Breaking ball gets Douglas to wave through there, evening the count at 2-2. And you mentioned the stuff that Eggert has. Not really going to blow anyone away, and you saw that throughout the regular season. Had 19 strikeouts through 21 innings pitched. Capozzi leads off second. Eggert takes a look back. The 2-2 offering. This one popped up a mile high in the air. Getting underneath it is the second baseman, Bryce Martinez, who makes the grab for the second out of the inning.
Some weak contact for Front Royal here in the early going, and yesterday they really couldn't figure it out at the plate. Only had 4 hits over the 9 innings. Mark Perkins threw 4 hitless innings, and they got 3 hits off of Hayden Smith later in the contest and scored their first run in that 9th inning. So 24 hits in Game 1, only 4 hits in Game 2. Had the single to start here in Game 3, but then a couple of weak fly balls.
That's the cleanup hitter and catcher, Brady Popple, digging in. First pitch from Eggert. Off-speed pitch gets Popple to chase. Popple so far this playoffs, 3 for 10, does have an RBI. Hit 4 long balls in 33 games during the regular season. Eggert toes the inside part of the rubber. Looks back, Capozzi, Edwards, and Martinez not covering the bag, so Eggert just steps off and takes a look back.
If somebody was there, Alex, he's gunned. Really big secondary lead there for Capozzi, and Eggert had him out to dry.
The 0-1 from Eggert misses just off the plate outside for ball number 1. Saw Capozzi swipe second earlier this inning. Definitely not afraid to run. Edwards now keeping a close eye on him up the middle. Eggert takes a look back. Now his 1-1 pitch also misses off the plate for ball 2. For Eggert, his appearance in Game 2 marked the first time he had pitched against Front Royal so far this season, as the next offering from him misses downstairs for ball 3.
And it's really rare to see a pitcher that's been here all season long not get an appearance against a team like Front Royal, a team that we played 3 times in June, and then we've played a couple times here so far in late July, one time with 2 games or 3 games left in the regular season, and then, of course, this opening round playoff series. So got a little bit of a sneak peek of him against Front Royal on Friday night with that first inning, but now Lyndon Coleman looking for a more prolonged outing from Eggert.
Count runs full here with 2 outs in the inning. Capozzi leads off second as he began the ball game with a single. The 3-2 to Popple. This one chopped on the ground down the first base line, but foul.
And those are the kind of breaking balls you don't want to leave up to Brody Popple. He hit 4 home runs during the regular season, had 2 doubles. Really hasn't pieced the ball all that well against Charlottesville this season, just 4 for 19. But if he gets another hanging breaking ball, he could easily make this a 1 or 2-0 game.
The full count pitch once more. Swing and a miss. He blows it by him. After surrendering a leadoff single to Nicholas Capozzi, Mike Eggert shuts down the next 3 hitters in the Front Royal lineup, and we head to the bottom of the first with the game still knotted up at 0. Edwards, Martinez, and Arroyo set to lead things off when we come back right here on Top Sox TV. It's the leadoff man, Kyle Edwards, set to begin things here in the bottom of the first, and getting the nod for the Front Royal Cardinals is the right-handed starter, PJ Craig, who begins the at-bat against Edwards, blowing a first pitch fastball right by him.
And this will be the first postseason appearance for PJ Craig. He made 9 appearances, 6 starts in the regular season, had a 5.67 ERA over 33 and a third innings.
Craig's next offering bounces in the dirt, gloved by the catcher Popple. The 1-1 to Edwards, in there for strike 2. Kyle been scuffling lately at the dish. His last 7 games, hitting just 143, 4 for his last 28. The 1-2 bounces way off the plate. Popple tried to keep it in front, but that goes back to the backstop.
He's just extending that a little longer. He's 7 for his last 41 since July 20th. He missed a couple games with an obligation. He had to attend to, made him miss about a week of baseball there in mid-July. So, bit of a struggle for him since coming back from that.
The 2-2 is popped up near the first baseman. Getting underneath it is Drew Kemp, who makes the catch to retire Edwards for the first out here in the bottom of the first.
Batting for your Comstocks, the second baseman from Wofford, number 31, Bryce Martinez.
Now it's the second baseman, Bryce Martinez, due up, and Bryce has had 2 RBIs this postseason, 2 for 10 in the 2 games, but during the regular season had a killer regular season, hit .319 with 20 RBIs in 34 games played as Martinez tries to drop down a bunt, but he pops this up. That'll go foul, gloved by the first base coach tonight, Trey Smith.
I'm sure we'll only see him for the first couple innings. We've been seeing a kind of a revolving door over there at first base. Coach David Utagawa gets over there a good bit. Quinn Stromberg gets over there a good bit. So probably we'll only see Trey for the first 3 innings.
0-1, Bryce Martinez expands his zone there in the high heat from Craig, and he's quickly down 0-2. You mentioned the rotating door of different first base coaches. Also, Mark Perkins getting some action out there. Craig out of the windup, his 0-2 pitch. Spoiled by Martinez as that one gets down the first base line and near the batting cage foul.
Bryce has been pretty successful against Front Royal between the regular season and the playoffs. 8 for 22 with 3 RBIs over all those appearances.
The 0-2, Martinez hits this one near the first base foul line, and making the grab is the first baseman, Drew Kemp. So back-to-back putouts for him, and Charlottesville's first 2 hitters have gone down quietly.
Well, a lot of weak contact induced by both pitchers. For Eggert, you had the soft line drive for Capozzi to begin, then the pop out to Arroyo in foul territory, the pop up in fair territory for Cameron Douglas, the number 3 hitter, and then back-to-back foul outs for Edwards and Martinez to begin the game tonight.
First pitch swing is Chris Arroyo, who grounds it softly to the second baseman, Hayden Harris, who makes the easy toss over to first base in time to set down Arroyo. Charlottesville goes 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the first. We head to the top of the second with your score still knotted at 0. Mike Eggert back out for inning number 2 here at Show Airport Field. I'm Alex Rocco, joined alongside by Nathan Schwartz, and just one hit for both sides through the first inning as Mike Eggert begins the at-bat against Drew Camp with a first pitch breaking ball. That catches the zone for strike number 1. Nicholas Capozzi led off the ball game with a single, but Eggert retired the next 3 hitters, and on the flip side, P.J. Craig went 1-2-3 through the Tom Sox first 3 hitters. The count's now even at 1-1 to Camp. The 1-1 breaking ball got him swinging there, making the count 1-2 here to begin the top of the second.
Camp, one of those up and down guys, really this entire season for Front Royal, has had his struggles. 213 average during the regular season, 29 strikeouts in 122 at-bats, but when he has gotten a hold of the baseball, it's affected the game in a lot of big ways.
This next pitch chopped right to Eggert off the mound. Taking it to the bag himself is Eggert, and Drew Camp is retired for the first out of the inning.
You see that every once in a while, but a lot of the times you'll see the flip from the pitcher to the first baseman, but Eggert must have wanted to go on a run or something because he wasted no time, didn't even think about flipping that over to Arroyo at first. And sometimes that's a safer play, maybe trying to avoid just misleading with the throw.
Eggert taking control of it by himself, and now it's the third baseman and 6-hole hitter Daniel Stevens up, and he cracks the first pitch on the ground to the shortstop Edwards, who bobbles it and doesn't make the throw, and Daniel Stevens is on with a 1-out error.
And we've seen Kyle have his fair share of struggles with the throwing errors, but right there, a rare miss getting the ball into the glove for Kyle. The backhand's always a tough play, but definitely had the opportunity to make the play if he was able to get the ball in the glove, and his struggles both at the plate and in the field continue.
It's Edwards' 12th error so far this campaign, as it's the other shortstop, Taylor Schultz, up now as he fouls it right back into the fence behind home plate. Schultz was scuffling mightily before the playoffs began, and his last 7 games was just 2 for 24. But during this postseason, he's 3 for 9 with an RBI, so providing a spark in the bottom third of this Front Royal lineup. As the Cardinals employing a hit and run here as Schultz bloops this into center field. Playing it on a hop is Wiley. His throw goes on to third base, not in time. Moving up to second on the play is Taylor Schultz. And just like that, Front Royal has runners on second and third with 1 out in the inning.
That is textbook hit and run right there. Going off on the pitch was Stevens. Ball hit up the middle. Usually you want to get that to the right side of the field and hit it behind the runner, but even hitting it up the middle is going to work, allowing Stevens to make it over to third. Wiley with a great throw from the outfield to nearly get Stevens at third base, but then also excellent base running by Schultz, trailing that throw, knowing he could get to second with his speed.
Now it's arguably the hottest hitter in the Front Royal lineup up now as Jaden Anderson watches a first pitch breaking ball from Eggert, catch the strike zone for a first pitch strike. Anderson so far in 2 games this postseason, 4 for 7 with a home run and 3 RBIs. But he's just raked against Charlottesville as Eggert once again blows a pitch by him, and Anderson quickly down to the count 0-2.
You mentioned his numbers against Charlottesville as a total 8 for 17, 3 homers rather, and 8 RBIs, also drawn 4 walks as well.
The 0-2 from Eggert, swing and a miss, he got him. A huge strikeout for Mike Eggert, keeping Stevens and Schultz at bay, and now bringing up 2 outs and the 9-hole hitter Brody Black.
Well, that's as big of an out as you can get right there. First base open, so you have the ability to kind of pitch around Anderson, not give him a pitch that he's going to hit, and that's exactly what Eggert did. He went back to the slider and the curveball multiple times in that at-bat and got Anderson, who was really impatient and ready to chase.
Anderson attacking early, and now it's Brody Black who watches the first pitch miss way high from Eggert. Black so far this postseason hitting .400 through the 2 games, does have a triple and 3 RBIs. The 1-0, chopped foul, just barely behind home plate. We saw Front Royal do most of their damage in Game 1 with 2 outs. Now Black coming up here in a big spot with 2 runners on, and this game still knotted up at 0. Eggert out of the windup. His 1-1. Grounded straight up the middle. The shortstop Edwards gets there. His throw. In time, he got him. Kyle Edwards makes up for his error earlier in this inning and flashes the leather and makes a strong throw over to Chris Arroyo to retire Brody Black for the 3rd out of the inning. Mike Eggert strands 2, and we head to the bottom of the 2nd with the score still even at 0. Charlottesville strands 2 in the top half of the 2nd inning, and now they have their 4, 5, 6 hitters due up in Nathan Fink, Aiden Teal, and Henry Ford, facing the starter, P.J. Craig. First pitch swing is Fink as he laces this down the right field foul line, but that just gets out of play for a long foul ball.
And you look at Nathan Fink, and you can make the argument he's been the most stable bat in this lineup for the past couple of weeks. He's on a 5-game hitting streak right now, including these 2 postseason games against Front Royal. He's got hits in 16 of his last 20 games, and over the last 10 games to finish the regular season, he hit 400 with 3 RBI, 2 doubles, and a triple. He finished the season hitting 329. So it really doesn't get much better than that for a guy that was struggling a little bit to start the season, really picked it up from mid to end July.
And just to add on top of that, 16 RBIs in his last 18 games. He didn't have an RBI in his first 7 contests, but the 0-2 pitch chopped on the ground toward the shortstop, Taylor Schultz, makes the play, and Nathan Fink is sat down for the first out of the inning.
Well, the Tom Sox have been able to time up P.J. Craig so far. They haven't seen him at all this season, so that's a good sign that they've been able to put the bat on the ball to start, but it really just hasn't been any good contact. The 2 foul outs and then the 2 weak ground balls up the middle for Arroyo and Fink.
Now this brings up the DH, Aiden Teal, who just mashes against Front Royal, but he softly chops this right back to Craig on the mound. He will take a few steps toward the first base bag and flip it to Kemp for the 2nd out of the inning, and once again, just soft contact for Charlottesville to begin the ballgame.
A little bit impatient right there for Teal. Was seeing the ball really well. You look at his stats last night, 3 for 3, 2 homers, a double, 4 RBIs, had a walk as well. And so knowing that he's seen the ball well, he got a pitch over the plate right there, thought he could put good bat on it, but was just really early. And I think that's been the problem so far over the first 5 hitters is these hitters are seeing the ball out of the hand, but they're just way too early, whether it's an adjustment that needs to be made of getting up in the box, just maybe stepping closer to the plate, or just in all honesty, just waiting on it a little bit longer. Whatever they have to do, they're going to have to figure that out, because in a game like this, they could switch pitchers every 3 innings, every 1 inning, every 2 innings. You never know. But if Craig is able to locate some of these pitches in a better spot, it could be a long day for this Tom Sox lineup.
Now it's Henry Ford due up as he watches the next pitch from Craig miss high, evening the count at 2-2. Ford struck out twice in Game 1, did not play in Game 2, but his 2 strikeouts were the first time that he had struck out in a game since July 20th. Ford not really known for striking out a whole lot as he works the count full here with 2 outs in the inning. Craig out of the windup, his full count offering. This one chopped down the third base line and foul.
It was a 25-bat stretch from the 21st of July to the 26th, where he didn't record a strikeout at all and was on fire to end the regular season, going 8 for 15 with 6 RBIs and 3 doubles to pair with his 3 home runs.
Ford was really flashing the power in those last few games. The full count offering comes inside and clips Ford as he takes the stroll down to first base, and Charlottesville has a 2-out runner.
Well, however you can get on base, Charlottesville is going to take at this point the rough start with all the weak contact, but there Ford works the count, something he's done really well the last couple of weeks, and is able to get a ball off the jersey right there, setting up for David Wiley, who had a really good Game 1 performance.
Before we touch on Wiley, it's the first time Ford has been hit all year. This is 30th game played, but you mentioned David Wiley. Wiley 2 for 2 back in Game 1, stole 2 bases. Also reached on a walk as Craig misses outside to begin the at-bat against the Wofford outfielder. Ford, the first base runner of the game for the Tom Sox. The 1-0. Wave through and missed by Wiley, even in the count at 1-1.
Wiley in that Game 1, 2 for 2 with the walk and 2 stolen bases. Also hit the ball pretty well against Front Royal in the regular season, where he was 4 for 10.
Wiley hit .238 during that regular season, appeared in 29 games, had a home run and 9 RBIs as Craig attempts a pickoff move trying to get Ford sleeping over there on first base, but he's back in plenty of time. Craig on the outside of the rubber now deals as this one grounded toward the shortstop, Schultz, who makes the easy flip over to the second baseman, Hayden Harris. And just like that, David Wiley is retired for the 3rd out of the inning. Henry Ford reaches on a hit by pitch, but Charlottesville isn't able to do much with the base runner. We head to the top of the 3rd with the score still even at 0. Back to the top of the order and leading things off for Front Royal, the center fielder Nicholas Capozzi, who began the game with a single. Still out there on the bump for the Tom Sox, the starter Michael Eggert, as Capozzi first pitch swing lifts this one high into left field. But making the grab is Garrett Spikes, and Capozzi is set down for out number 1.
Capozzi's been liking lifting the ball out to left field to begin. Really, the only hard contact we've seen for Front Royal tonight has come from Capozzi with that leadoff single in the first and then that fly out right there.
Capozzi was really struggling to end his regular season, going just 4 for 26 in the final 7 games, but entering tonight, he was 5 for 11 in these playoffs and just added to it with a Leadoff single back in the first inning, but now it's Hayden Harris who begins his second at-bat against Eggert with a first pitch ball. This next pitch lifted out into left field. Making the leaping grab is Garrett Spikes, and 2 flyouts to Spikes. Out and left has the first 2 Cardinal hitters set down here in the top of the third.
It's clear that Eggert's gotten touched up a little bit so far with the single in the first, single in the second. 2 hard contact outs right there for Front Royal, and that just comes with the top of the lineup for Front Royal. And now Cameron Douglas going to try and maybe work a count and extend Eggert's pitch count a little bit here in this third inning.
Douglas 0 for 1 tonight, popped up to the second baseman Bryce Martinez for the second out back in the first inning as he watches a first pitch strike from Eggert. The next offering, this one chopped on the ground, fielded by the third baseman Henry Ford, who makes the running play in time to retire Cameron Douglas as Mike Eggert works a 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the third, and it's a pitcher's duel here at Cho Airport Field as this game still even at 0. Ties all around the VBL as this game still even at 0 between the Charlottesville Tom Sox and the Front Royal Cardinals. And the other game that's being played right now, Woodstock and Strasburg, that game still even at 1 as the leadoff hitter Salvi Alvarez puts a charge into this one in a deep center field, but tracking it down all the way is the center fielder Nicholas Capozzi for a loud out number 1.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty big game to watch for Charlottesville fans. We're under the impression that whoever wins this game tonight here in Charlottesville will play the winner of the game going on in Strasburg right now. Woodstock took game 1 on the road.
Garrett Spikes hits this high and deep into right field as this one gets caught up in the air as Brody Black puts it away for out number 2. Thought that one was going deeper off the bat, but Wynn just held it up.
So did I. That's why I stopped talking. I wanted to give you your moment to make the call if it was going to be a home run. But back to the Woodstock-Strasburg series. Woodstock takes game 1 on the road. Strasburg takes game 2 in Woodstock last night. So a really big game 3 and another pop-up right here.
Kyle Edwards hits this one a mile in the air, and calling off the shortstop Taylor Schultz is the left fielder Cameron Douglas. And 3 straight fly balls for the Tom Sox. All 2 different outfielders have them working a 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the third. The pitcher's duel carries on here at Cho Airport Field as we're through 3, and this game still is knotted at 0. Just 2 hits for both sides as we begin the top of the 4th here at Cho Airport Field. I'm Alex Rocco, joined alongside by Nathan Schwartz. And leading things off is the cleanup hitter and catcher Brady Popple, who wastes no time lifting this one into the left center field gap. Trying to make the catch is Garrett Spikes as he collides with the center fielder David Wiley. Taking the turnaround second is Popple. The throw isn't cut off by Bryce Martinez, and just like that, Brady Popple starts its inning off with a bang and a leadoff triple.
Well, I think more so great location with the hit, but even more so just the lack of communication right there between Spikes and Wiley. They both were going 100% at that baseball into the gap. There was really clearly no communication as to who was going to get that ball. They collided with each other. Spikes had it in his glove, but then with the collision with Wiley, the ball came loose, and Popple winds up at third base.
It's the first triple on the season for Brody Popple as he stands just 90 feet away of bringing in the first run of the ball game here in the top of the 4th. Now it's Drew Camp as he quickly grounds this one down the third base line and foul. Camp in his first at-bat grounded out to the pitcher Mike Eggert to begin the top of the 2nd. Arroyo playing on the lip of the grass over there at first base as Eggert's next offering misses for ball 1. Camp hitting just 200 so far this postseason. The 1-1 misses off the plate for ball 2. This is his second season with Front Royal. Played in both of their postseason games last year, went 0 for 4. It did score a run, however. The 2-1 lifted down the first base line, but foul.
Yeah, hit over his 2 seasons with Front Royal, 266 last year with 13 RBIs in 35 games. This year, 36 games, average bumped all the way down to 213. Did have another 18 RBI season.
Eggert's 2-2 pitch. Grounded softly and foul. There is action in the Tom Sox bullpen. Believe it's Dave Utagawa warming up. Dave, one of the normal starters for the Tom Sox, but in a do-or-die Game 3, Lyndon Coleman trusting his best guns here in Eggert and potentially Utagawa. The 2-2 offering lifted high and deep into left field. Back goes the left fielder, Garrett Spikes, but he runs out of room, and this ball is gone. For the 3rd time this year, Drew Camp takes a Tom Sock pitcher deep, and just like that, Front Royal leads 2-0 here in the top of the 4th.
Well, the hanging pitches, that's going to be the danger zone for Mike Eggert, and Drew Camp continues to mash here against the Tom Sox. As you mentioned, Alex, it's the 3rd home run he's hit against Charlottesville this season, and in a game like this, having the lack of communication in left and center that leads to the triple, and then the homer right there, those are the kind of plays that if whatever team's able to stack on those plays is going to probably come out and win the ball game. So Charlottesville really has to limit the damage here in the top of the 4th and then come back with an even bigger response in the bottom half of the inning.
Charlottesville is yet to record a hit. They have just one base runner, and that was Henry Ford, who reached on a hit by pitch. As now it's the 3rd baseman, Daniel Stevens, who watches the next offering miss downstairs for a ball. The count is the left field line, but foul.
Stevens reached on the Kyle Edwards error in the 5-6 hole in his first at-bat. Now trying to follow up the triple and the homer back-to-back for Front Royal.
The 1-2. Skied popped up way high, and that gets into the crowd for a souvenir for one of the many fans here at Cho Airport Field. A decent crowd here for Game 3 of the first round of the VBL playoffs. Eggert's 1-2. Hit right back into center field. Getting underneath it is the center fielder, David Wiley, who makes the grab for the first out of the inning.
Looked like after that end of the 2nd inning and the 3rd inning for Eggert that he was going to kind of coast a little bit, but it's gotten pretty clear that Front Royal is seeing the ball much better off of Mike Eggert with the triple, the homer. Hard contact right there for Stevens, and here comes Schultz, who already singled against Eggert today.
Like Nathan mentioned, Schultz 1 for 1 on the ball game as the first pitch from Eggert spiked in the dirt off the equipment of the catcher Salvi Alvarez. That ball picked up by the DH of tonight's contest, Aiden Teal. Next pitch from Eggert. This one chopped foul by Schultz. After the foul ball, Eggert toes the rubber. His 1-1 pitch blows it past Stevens as he's up, or Schultz rather, as he's up in the count 1-2, with just one out in the inning.
Schultz really didn't have that breakout during the regular season. 207 average, finished 2 for 24 over the last 7 games of the regular season. That's an 083 average. Was even 0 for 4 versus Charlottesville during the regular season as well, but really coming to life here in the playoffs for Front Royal. 4 for 10 so far, was 3 for 5 in that game 1, and after an 0 for 4 performance last night, looking for another hit right here.
Breaking ball got him looking. Third strikeout of the ball game rather for Mike Eggert, and there are 2 outs here in the top of the 4th.
Well, getting that hanging breaking ball for a backwards K is a huge break right there from Mike Eggert, and that's an easy second out for Mike.
Now it's the DH, Jaden Anderson, who watches the first pitch from Eggert miss high for ball 1. Anderson, one of 3 strikeouts for Eggert in the ballgame as he hits this one high and deep into the outfield. But making the catch is the center fielder, David Wiley, for the 3rd out of the inning. But not before Front Royal gets on the board here with 2 runs after a 2-run shot from Drew Kemp. We head to the bottom half of the inning with Front Royal leading 2-0. Another slow offensive start for the Charlottesville Tom Sox here at Show Airport Field as they find themselves trailing 2-0 here in the bottom of the 4th. I'm Alex Rocco, joined alongside by Nathan Schwartz, and leading things off is Bryce Martinez, who has to back out of the way from a high heater from the starter, P.J. Craig. Craig really doing a nice job pitching to contact against the Tom Sox as he pours in a strike here, evening the count at 1-1, has yet to record a punch out, but has also not allowed a hit through 3. The 1-1 breaking ball misses just off the plate as Martinez moves ahead in the count 2-1.
Not just pitching to contact, but pitching for weak contact. There really hasn't been anybody for Charlottesville that's put a good swing on a baseball tonight.
Martinez fouls off the next offering from Craig, evening the count at 2-2. The lone base runner for the Sox tonight, Henry Ford, who reached on a hit by pitch back in the 2nd inning. The 2-2 offering just off the plate, and Martinez works the count full here to begin the bottom of the 4th. Bryce hitting just 200 during the playoffs as the full count offering from Craig misses high, and Bryce Martinez starts things off with a leadoff walk.
Batting for your Tom Sox first baseman, number 22, Chris Arroyo.
Well, for the Tom Sox, that's exactly what they need after a 3-pitch third inning for P.J. Craig, where the Tom Sox hitters were really just impatient and got that weak contact. Craig got them to get their hands to drop and hit the ball straight into the outfield. That's a big leadoff walk there for Martinez. Now you have to work the count a little bit more. That's pitch just 34 for Craig so far, and if the trend stays like this, Craig could go a long way into this baseball game.
Craig looks like he hasn't broken a sweat as Chris Arroyo flares this one into center field. Playing on a hop is the center fielder Nicholas Capozzi. But just like that, the Tom Sox have their first 2 hitters on to begin the bottom of the 4th.
Sometimes that's all it takes. You hear a lot of the times a bunt will get you back on track at the plate. Sometimes right there for an entire offense, all you need is that little bloop hit to drop in there. And that was really good defense out for Capozzi in center field, kind of deking out Martinez at first base, making sure he wasn't going to get too far, maybe get a chance to get to third base.
Next offering, Fink laces this one into center field, going into a slide and making the catch is Nicholas Capozzi, and first pitch swinging Nathan Fink is set down for out number 1.
Really like the swing right there for Fink. Saw a pitch middle that he liked. Couldn't have hit it much harder. Just went right towards more the center field, straight up center field rather than the left center field gap, giving Capozzi enough time to slide over and make the play.
First pitch from Craig to Teal. Misses for ball number 1. A quick update around the VBL. Woodstock has taken a 2-1 lead in the top of the 8th. It will face the winner of Front Royal and the Tom Sox as Craig evens the count after going with the breaking ball to Teal. Teal, 2 home runs.
At least one right here to get runners on second and first base to start. You got the tough out there for Fink, but now with Teal and Ford, somebody's got to make something happen.
Martinez leads off second. This pitch hit into right field. Coming on is the right fielder Brody Black. Martinez fakes the tag. He will stay put at second. So back-to-back flyouts for Fink and Teal, and there are 2 outs in the inning.
The Tom Sox are putting better swings on the ball. He had guys working counts, swinging at better pitches. Teal just got a little bit on top of that one, didn't get all of the baseball. Now it's going to be up to Ford.
Now it's Henry Ford up as he watches a first pitch strike from Craig, and that's something, Nathan, he's done an excellent job of starting off these at-bats with first pitch strikes.
That's a big reason why he's only at 41 pitches through 3 2/3 innings.
The 0-1 to Ford. This one drilled deep in the left field. Going back is the left fielder Cameron Douglas. This one hits off the base of the wall. And coming in to score is Bryce Martinez, and Henry Ford with an RBI double makes this game 2-1 with 2 outs in the inning.
And that's how you bounce back right there for Henry Ford. Had a really rough game 1, had some tough plays defensively, didn't do it at the plate, but right there needing a hit. And a big one at that. Henry Ford delivers an RBI double, just missing a 3-run home run, but now that extends the inning and puts the tying run just 90 feet away.
It's the first hit and first RBI for Ford this postseason. Went 0 for 4 back in Game 1, sat in Game 2 as the next offering gets away from the catcher Popple, but staying put at third base is Chris Arroyo. Arroyo on third, Ford on second. The Tom Sox answer with 1 in the bottom of the 4th after Front Royal put up 2 after the 2-run shot from Drew Kemp. The 1-0 from Craig. Chopped on the ground, fielded by the third baseman Daniel Stevens, ranging over, making the throw in time to nab David Wiley, but Charlottesville puts 1 on the board, making it a 2-1 game after an RBI double from Henry Ford. We head to the top of the 5th here in Charlottesville, with Front Royal still leading 2-1. Mike Eggert out for his 5th inning of work here at Cho Airport Field. I'm Alec Trocco, joined alongside by Nathan Schwartz. And after 3 scoreless innings here, the offense has finally broke out as Front Royal had 2 in the 4th, and Charlottesville answers with 1 in the bottom half of the inning. And leading things off is Brody Black, who fouls off the first offering from Eggert. Black 0 for 1 today, grounded out to Kyle Edwards to end the top of the 2nd. Dave Utagawa still continues to throw in the Tom Sox bullpen. So next pitch from Eggert misses downstairs for a ball. Next pitch fouled off the glove and mask of Alvarez. And Eggert's up in the count 1-2 to begin the top of the 5th.
And we were talking during the break, Alex, we wonder if Eggert's just going to face the one batter here in Black with the top of the lineup and Capozzi on deck.
Off-speed pitch from Eggert misses off the plate for ball 2.
Especially since Capozzi's hit Eggert pretty well today, a leadoff single in the 1st and then a hard fly out in the 3rd.
The 2-2. Breaking ball, did he chase? He got him. Mike Eggert going with the off-speed pitch to get the first out of the inning via the strikeout of Brody Black.
Looks like Lyndon Coleman's going to stick with Eggert here, probably try and get a couple outs out of him, but you would think if he gives up a base runner, Utagawa is going to be ready to come in.
Eggert with just 59 pitches through 4 1/3 innings. Starts off Capozzi with a high strike. As you mentioned, Nathan, Nicholas Capozzi 1 for 2 today, also stole a base back in the 1st inning. The 0-1, this one grounded to the shortstop, Kyle Edwards. Trips just a bit, it regains his balance, makes the throw in time for the 2nd out of the inning.
Really nifty play there for Kyle. Got it on a backhand off a one-hop, slips, is able to reset his footing. A lot of guys will panic in that situation and try and throw it on the run, but Kyle really experienced that shortstop. He's able to keep his composure, set his feet, and make a strong throw to first for the 2nd out.
Now it's the 2-hole hitter, Hayden Harris, who's 0 for 2 today. First pitch swing pops this one out into foul territory. Harris played in just 1 game against the Sox during the regular season. That came back just 5 days ago on the 25th. He went 0 for 4 in that contest with a sac fly. Next pitch from Eggert also fouled off, and Mike Eggert just 1 strike away from working a 1-2-3 top of the 5th.
And you never know with the way Eggert has pitched so far in this 5th inning. If the Tom Sox are able to tie things up or take a lead in the bottom half of the inning, I think we'd see Eggert back out there for the 6th inning.
Eggert's 0-2 pitch spoiled away by Harris as he fouled that one straight back into the fence.
Especially with the pitch count being the way it is. That was pitch number 64 for him right there. You want to keep Utagawa as fresh as possible, and if you're able to win this game, he would likely start tomorrow unless he's needed today.
0-2 just misses high to Harris, but you bring up a good point of saving pitchers. All these guys have thrown a lot of innings during this regular season, so if you can keep on getting more outs from guys and save some other arms, definitely will pay off in the long run. The 1-2 spiked in the dirt, framed by Alvarez behind the plate, but from 0-2 to 2-2 with 2 outs here to Hayden Harris in the top of the 5th. Next pitch once again misses for ball 3, and Harris works the count full.
One final point on the changing of the pitchers topic. Of course, the biggest thing is you need to get through the game today. You can't play tomorrow if you don't win the game today, so you have to go all out in order to get the final outs in this game.
Eggert goes with the breaking ball, and he gets rung up. Mike Eggert back to, or 2 strikeouts rather, in the top of the 5th. His 5th strikeout of the ball game as he works a 1-2-3 top of the 5th here at Cho Airport Field. I'll pass over play-by-play duties to my broadcast partner Nathan Schwartz after this quick break as the Tom Sox still trail 2-1 here at Cho Airport Field.
Bottom of the 5th inning here in Charlottesville, 2-1 Front Royal in Game 3 of this first round in the VBL playoffs. Nathan Schwartz and Alex Rocco with you here in a do-or-die game for both of these teams. Front Royal coming in as the number 8 seed, upset Charlottesville big time here in Game 1 as Salvi Alvarez starts off the 5th inning with a single the other way to put the leadoff man on.
Man, Nathan, Salvi Alvarez just continues to rake. In his last 8 games coming into tonight, 10 for 19 with 4 RBIs. That's hitting at a 526 clip. That average bound to go up there after the single, and Salvi just doing all the little things right at the dish to end off the season.
He had hits in 7 of those 8 games that you mentioned, Alex. Here's Garrett Spikes, squares to bunt, pulls it back, and the ball is a ball. Never got into the umpires tonight. Matthew Pierman's behind the plate. Nathan Hamlet is at first base, and Fred Shaner is on the third base side tonight. Spike squares to bunt again, tries to get this one down, can't make contact with the pitch, and it'll go to 1 ball and 1 strike on the life of the party in the Tom Sox dugout. Garrett Spikes, his 3rd season with the team, has been donned the name Mr. Tom Sox. Squares to bunt again, pulls this one back, and the count moves to 2-1. But for Spikes, this is his 86th game that he's played in a Tom Sox uniform right here. He's played every position for the Tom Sox, and he holds both the career doubles and RBI records for Charlottesville, which he both broke on Wednesday. He gets this one down, a beautifully placed bunt. It'll go to Camp at first. The throw is just in time to get him at first base. A nice play by Hayden Harris to get over from second base to that first base bag. A sacrifice for Spikes, putting the tying run in scoring position.
That's an excellent bunt there for Spikes, moving Alvarez into scoring position, and now you have a runner on second base with 1 out in the inning and the top of your lineup. I know we've talked about Kyle Edwards struggling at the dish, but he is due. He is due. He's 4 for his last 30, and if there's ever a time for him to get a hit to tie up a ball game, it's right now.
It's a first pitch breaking ball that he takes right down the middle for strike 1. I was talking with Kyle late after the game last night. Before the game today, he's decided to make a change. He's not wearing batting gloves during today's game. He's been wearing batting gloves all season long. He even wore batting gloves during his spring season with Old Dominion. As the 0-1, he goes swinging and misses that one for another strike. But decided to switch things up a little bit, was debating whether to change the elbow guard. He's debating whether or not he should wear the red elbow guard that Garrett Spikes has, or whether he'd stick to the navy blue one. He is sticking with the navy blue one today, but he is 0 for 2. And the 0-2 nearly hits Edwards in the face, able to duck out of the way of that one. Kyle, those 0 for 2 at-bats, a pop out to Drew Camp in foul territory back in the first, and a shallow fly out to Cameron Douglas in left back in the third. Now a big chance for him here. 1-2 count. Salvi Alvarez at second base with 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th. He gets a breaking ball, lines it to center. This is Capozzi who's able to make the catch. Alvarez thinks about tagging. The throw was a good one from Capozzi. A good thing Alvarez decided to retreat. So Edwards another out, and 2 away now for Bryce Martinez.
Definitely a smart idea for Alvarez to at least draw the throw, but that was an excellent throw from Capozzi out in center field. But at least on the positive side for Edwards, it was a stronger piece of contact off the bat, and he's just going through a tough time at the dish right now, but hopefully his teammate Bryce Martinez can pick him up and bring in Alvarez to tie this contest up.
Tom Sox had a big 2-out hit from Henry Ford in the bottom of the 4th inning, an RBI double that brought home the man at the plate right now in Martinez. The first pitch to Bryce, a slider that doesn't catch the top of the zone, so it'll be 1-0 on the Tom Sox second baseman. This is his 37th game of the season. Started 34 games, or I should say appeared in 34 games for the Sox in the regular season, and this being his 3rd start of the postseason. Riding a 16-game on-base streak that he extended with a walk back in the 4th inning. He was second on the team behind Connor Hanks, who's not in the lineup today. Hanks also has a 16-game on-base streak, so those two tied now. 2-0 to Bryce, two-seam fastball, and that catches the outside corner for strike 1 to put the count at 2 balls and a strike. But looking at Bryce Martinez, Alex, led the team of the qualified players on the team in average, led the team in runs scored, and was tied for the team lead in RBIs during that regular season.
He's just done everything for Charlottesville this summer, and you didn't even mention his 23 stolen bases. That is near the top of the VBL, and he's done all the little things, more the contact guy that get on base, works deep in the count, fouls off a tough pitch, but is what you need to have at the top of your lineup, and that combination of Kyle Edwards and Bryce Martinez really anchored the 1-2 spots for Lyndon Coleman and provided a lot of runners for the meat of your lineup.
Big pitch right here for P.J. Craig. The 2-2 delivery lined into center. Capozzi able to get there in time for the third and final out. Tom Sox put together a couple good at-bats against Craig. A single for Alvarez, 2 lineouts for Edwards and Martinez, but no runs come across the plate. We head to the top of the 6th here in Charlottesville on Tom Sox TV. Back for the top of the 6th inning here in Charlottesville, and Mike Eggert back on the mound for the Tom Sox. This is the first time this season that Mike will pitch into the 6th inning. He went 5 innings against Strasburg back on July the 22nd. Went the 5 innings, gave up 1 earned run on 2 hits, walked 2, struck out 5. His line tonight, he's gone 5 innings, giving up 2 earned runs on 4 hits, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. As the first pitch of the 6-2 Cameron Douglas is pot foul out of play for strike number 1.
Mike Eggert's been extremely impressive tonight, has had a lot of command of all of his pitches, but especially that breaking ball. And using his breaking ball to get punch-outs, that's exactly what you want to see from him. And if he still has that stamina, definitely want to see if he can push deeper in this game as David Ogawa continues to warm up for the Sox. Feels like he's been warming up for nearly 3 innings.
The 1-1 popped up shallow center. Martinez calling everybody off. He's going to make the catch just into the outfield grass for the first out. One thing I noticed before the game, the outfield grass is really tall. Hasn't been cut in a while, so that could actually play a really big role in whether a ball gets into the gap. If it loses traction, that could change a game. If a ball gets into a gap, it could turn a double or a triple into a double into a single. You never know with a play like that. There's a line drive to right, and Nathan Fink able to make a good recovery for the second out. He started coming in on the baseball, realized quickly it's going over my head, able to take a good angle back to the ball for that second out.
Well, you saw Fink just run in instantly, and he had that moment where he realized that the ball was going over his head, and he instantly turns back and makes the nice running grab. And some hard contact to from Brady Popple today. He had the triple earlier in the game, but Eggert just continues to dominate out on the bump.
Yeah, Popple now 1 for 3 with that triple to lead off the 4th. And here's Drew Camp, who has done the damage so far for Front Royal. A 2-run blast in the top of the 4th off of Mike Eggert, and he's even in the count right now. 1 ball, 1 strike against Eggert. And Drew Camp, that was his third home run of the season against Charlottesville, was 4 for 15 against the Sox during the regular season, and now here in this 3-game stretch in the first round of the playoffs, he's 3 for 11 with 2 bombs.
He's been extremely impressive and one of the few guys in this Front Royal lineup that the Tom Sox pitchers have to be wary of. And another guy is Jaden Anderson, but Camp is really impressed so far in this series and especially against the Sox after struggling during the regular season.
Right there, that was pitch number 76 for Mike Eggert. And both pitchers have been able to keep their pitch count down, and we expect to see them both go deep into this game. There's a 2-2 fastball that is upstairs, so it'll be full count, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Eggert looking for his third 1-2-3 inning of the ball game. He's retired the last 8 Cardinals he's faced. The last base runner was that Drew Camp homer back in the 4th. 3-2 fastball on the ground to Edwards at short. He's able to make the throw to first. Arroyo able to make the catch at first base, and another 1-2-3 inning for Mike Eggert. He's retired 9 in a row, and the Tom Sox offense needs to pick him up on the other side of this break. It'll be the 3-4-5 hitters, and Chris Arroyo, Nathan Fink, and Aiden Teal on the other side of this break in Charlottesville.
First baseman number 22 is Chris.
3-4-5 hitters due up for Charlottesville, and it's coming to that time, Alex, where the Tom Sox are going to need to put together some base runners and get another run across the board.
Well, Nathan, there's only 12 outs left in their season, and if this result holds, Charlottesville's season will end tonight, so they need to start stringing some better at-bats along. But it's a tough task against P.J. Craig, who has dominated them all throughout the first 5 innings.
Swing and a miss right there from Arroyo, who took the first pitch for a strike, so quickly 0-2 to the rising sophomore, transferring from the University of Florida. For Craig, this is the 5th time this season he's worked past the 5th inning, or at least to the end of the 5th inning, and he gets Arroyo on 3 pitches to begin the 6th.
Funny enough, Nathan, that's the first strikeout for P.J. Craig today. He's really done a good job pitching to contact, and Arroyo just being super aggressive at the dish. And that strategy burns him as he strikes out on 3 pitches. Breaking
ball to Fink to begin the at-bat. He fouls that one off to put the count at 0-1. Fink, 0 for 2 today. A hard line out. Was robbed of extra bases by Capozzi in the 4th. 1-1 from Craig. That is skied way into the air, center field. Capozzi again able to camp under it for the 2nd out. And Alex, P.J. Craig continues to dominate. This is shaping up to be one of his better performances, if not his best start of the season so far. He's had command of everything, and if the situation holds, this would arguably be his best start of the season. The only one that rivals it was back on July 12th against Strasburg, where
He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits, only allowed 1 run, struck out 6 in that ball game, walked 4. He's had the command today where he didn't have it in that game, and he's just really been impressive. And Front Royal needed a start, needed a guy to eat innings, and PJ Craig has done that.
Hard ball on the ground. That's going to get through for a base hit. Aiden Teal continues to stay hot for Charlottesville. His 4th hit of this playoff series puts a 2-out base runner on for the Sox.
Well, Nathan, it only was a matter of time where Aiden Teal was going to get a hit today. He's been on fire as of late, and especially this postseason, that's now his 4th hit in 3 games, and he's tattooed Front Royal pitching coming into today. 3 home runs on just 6 at-bats.
First pitch to Henry Ford is outside. There was an appeal down to the first base umpire, Nathan Hamlet, who said Ford was able to hold his swing. Henry, 1 for 1 in the game, was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd and then drove in the lone run for the Sox with a double back in the 4th. 1-0 from Craig. That will clip the outside corner for strike 1. Back to Teal, 1 for 3 in the game today, puts him at 4 for 7 in this series so far. 0 for 1 with 2 walks and a hit by pitch on Thursdays. There's an inside-out swing for Ford that sneaks through the diving glove of Hayden Harris and into right field. Back-to-back singles to right for the Sox, and Henry Ford with his 2nd hit tonight.
Well, Nathan, we saw in Game 1, 2-out hitting was the difference between these two squads, as Front Royal had nearly double-digit 2-out hits, and now Charlottesville with back-to-back 2-out hits here in the 6th, and this could be a start of a rally here. You have David Wiley up now with a runner in scoring position. You just get one more bloop into the outfield, and this game could be knotted up at 2.
David Wiley had a really good Game 1. 2 for 2 with a double, or 2 for 2 rather, a walk and 2 stolen bases. In this game tonight, he's put 2 balls into the ground. 0 for 2, a fielder's choice in the 2nd, and a traditional 5-3 put out in the 4th. 1-0 from Craig. That's upstairs, and Popple behind the plate thought about a back pick at Ford, but decides to hold on to it. And a 2-0 count here against Wiley, who really hasn't had a lot of RBIs this season for Charlottesville. This is the 31st game of his season. He's only got 9 RBIs in 86 at-bats. 2-0 from Craig. Wiley thought about it. 2-0. You want to be aggressive in most circumstances, but not with 2 outs when you're down by 1 in a game that could finish off your season.
No, I think it was a good take from Wiley there, and there's also the fact that you want to keep on having Craig throw more pitches. He's only at 73. Make that now 74, and the more you can make him work and the faster you can get to this Front Royal bullpen, the better off you are for the Sox.
There is a right-hander warming for the Cardinals in the bullpen. They barely have any guys available in this game tonight. As the 3-1 fastball, that does catch the top of the zone, and Wiley will get a payoff pitch from Craig here in a moment. 3-2 is the count. 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Aiden Teal is on 2nd. Henry Ford's on 1st. The Sox trail 2-1 in Game 3 of the first round of the VBL playoffs against the number 8 seed Front Royal Cardinals. Craig rocks to a set, checks Teal at 2nd. The runners go, and the 3-2 pitch is inside for ball 4. A brilliant at-bat worked by David Wiley. Got some pitches to hit, decided to be patient, and it works out in the end. The Sox will have the bases loaded with 2 outs, and now we're going to get a mound visit for PJ Craig.
Well, Nathan, you said it best. That was just an excellent at-bat for David Wiley, and a guy who's really had a excellent postseason so far. Just saw a lot of pitches from Craig. Fouled off a couple of tough ones and reaches on the walk there, now loading the bases for the guy that you want to have up at the dish if you're Lyndon Coleman in Salvi Alvarez.
Salvi 1 for 2 in the game, 11 for 21 over his last 9 games, including tonight. Hits in 8 of his last 9 games. Finished with a .316 average this regular season, 12 for 38 in 17 games. 6 RBIs, 2 doubles, a triple, which was his first hit in a Tom Sox uniform, all the way back in mid-June. And he drew 12 walks, finished with an OPS over 900. And that last week or so stretch for Salvi really flipped his season around. He was hitting 136 at one point. Started to get some more consistent ABs towards the end with all the rainouts. And a big spot for him here. And he takes the first pitch for strike 1. Bases are loaded. Teal at third, Ford at second, Wiley at first. The Sox trail by 1 here in the elimination game. Craig's 0-1's upstairs, and he's starting to work a little quicker here out of the mound visit.
You could see him just instantly get the sign from the catcher, Popple, and go right back into his motion here, not trying to waste any time.
Craig will work out of the windup with the bases loaded. The 1-1 to Salvi in the dirt. Nice block by Brody Popple behind the plate. And keep in mind, a walk would bring in the tying run, so Craig has to be ultra careful right here and make sure you don't give anything to Alvarez that he could put into the gap, but also got to be able to locate on the outside corner. 2-1 from Craig. Elevated fastball. Alvarez cuts right through it. And the count moves to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Biggest moment of the game right here. Bases loaded, 2-2 the count on Alvarez. 2 outs. Tying run just 90 feet away with Garrett Spikes on deck. Craig from the wind. The 2-2. Breaking ball hit over to the third baseman. Stevens, he will step on the third base bag, and P.J. Craig works out of a massive jam. 2 singles and a walk put the bases loaded, but Alvarez grounds out to end the inning, and the Sox come up short. Once again, the Cardinals, the 8 seed, hold a 2-1 lead over the top-seeded Tom Sox as we head to the top of the 7th here on Tom Sox TV. Tom Sox have left 7 runners on base through the first 6 innings. That's been the big difference in tonight's ballgame. Front Royal only left 3 runners on base, 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and 1 swing of the bat has given Front Royal its 2-1 lead. A 2-run shot for Drew Camp. Henry Ford responded for the Sox with a RBI double in the bottom half of the 4th, but not a whole lot of offense, a lot of great pitching tonight. And Mike Eggert back out on the mound, and first pitch swinging is Daniel Stevens, who made that unassisted put out to end the bottom of the 6th, and he singles to begin the 7th.
Well, that's been the first hit for Front Royal since the 2-run home run from Drew Camp, as Mike Eggert really entered into a groove here. Now curious to see what Lyndon Coleman goes to out of his bullpen here, with Eggert starting to throw a lot of pitches in this game getting into the later stages.
This will be pitch number 80 right here for Eggert, and it's popped up first base side in front of the Tom Sox dugout. Arroyo is there, and a crucial 1-pitch first out right there for Mike Eggert after the leadoff single.
I don't think that was a bigger out that Eggert could have retired. You need to continue to get these low pitch outs, and doing a good job of attacking Schultz right away and getting him to pop up.
Now Jaden Anderson, who can do some damage for this Front Royal squad, he's up right now. First pitch to him, breaking ball, fouled away. Arroyo getting there in time. Another phenomenal play by Chris Arroyo over at first base. 3 pitches, 2 outs for Eggert here in the 7th.
You know, Nate, that's one of these plays where if the Tom Sox manage to make a comeback in this ballgame, you're going to point to it as a turning point in this ballgame, as Jaden Anderson, one of the top hitters on this Front Royal squad, pops the ball up, and just that extra effort from Arroyo making that hustle play and getting a crucial out saves Eggert from throwing more pitches and gets him in a groove.
Anderson 4 for 7 over the first 2 games. Here goes the runner. The throw down by Alvarez. Safe is the call. Daniel Stevens will take second base. It's the second swiped bag for Front Royal tonight.
Stevens likes to run. That's now his 22nd stolen base on the season.
So an insurance run in scoring position for Front Royal. The leadoff single for Stevens at the stolen base puts him on second. 2 foul outs. And now the number 9 hitter in Brody Black. Black ahead 2-0 in the count. First base open, the top of the lineup, and Nicholas Capozzi on deck for the Cardinals. David Udagawa continues to warm for the Tom Sox. He's been the only reliever warming up for Charlottesville. 2-0 swung on and missed by Brody Black. The count moves to 2-1.
Black, a victim of the strikeout, was punched out 20 times in 15 games during the regular season, struck out 3 times so far through the first 2 playoff games. Also, struck out earlier this game.
There's a 2-1 changeup from Eggert. Can't quite get that outside corner. So 3-1 the count. You want to be careful here. 3-1 hitters count. Top of the lineup on deck. More of a cautious pitch around scenario with the first base bag open. Maybe you could test your luck with the top of the lineup. Stevens dances off a second, and there's a 3-1 fastball from Eggert. He challenged Black, and it was a red light all the way, and now the count will be full. 3-2, 2 out. Runner on second here in the top of the 7th with Front Royal leading Charlottesville 2-1. Eggert rocks to a set. The payoff pitch cut on and missed for strike 3. Mike Eggert through 7 here in Charlottesville in a do-or-die game for the Tom Sox. Charlottesville will send Spikes, Edwards, and Martinez to the plate in the bottom of the 7th as we head to the 7th inning stretch here at Cho Airport Field. The bases loaded, 2 outs for Charlottesville in the bottom of the 6th. Presented a golden opportunity. They weren't able to come up with it, but if anything, it worked P.J. Craig out of the baseball game. He finishes with 6 innings, 5 hits, only 1 earned run allowed on the 4 RBI double, walked 2, and only struck out 1. He exits, and Dallas Harefield is the new arm for Front Royal.
And Harefield's a guy that the Sox have seen a lot this year. This is his 4th appearance. In those 3 appearances prior, had a 1-0 record, tossed 6 2/3 innings, allowed 3 hits and walked 8.
And right off the jump, Garrett Spikes lines one out to Cameron Douglas, who makes a nice play on the run for the first out.
Spike's not wasting any time attacking off the first pitch from Harefield and put a good swing on it, but just baseball's a game of inches, couldn't move it over it down that line, and a nice grab by Douglas.
Kyle, his struggles continue. 0 for 3, foul out, 2 flyouts. Hit the ball much better in his last at bat, but he pops another one right up. Second base, it's Harris, and 2 pitches, 2 outs for Harefield.
Sox are just swinging at the first pitch there, trying to be aggressive against Harefield. And not quite sure that's the strategy you want to employ against a guy who's walked 24 hitters in 22 and a third innings pitch. Struggles with that command, so you want to see more pitches, make him work on the mound, but both Spikes and Edwards swing at the first pitch and popping it straight up.
Bryce Martinez doesn't even twitch a muscle there on the first pitch for Dallas Harefield, takes it down low for ball 1. We did already have a 1-2-3 pitch inning in this game today for P.J. Craig. Back in the third inning. Avoided another one right there. Martinez swings, and just like that, 4 pitches, 3 outs for Dallas Harefield. The Tom Sox are getting really aggressive at the plate, but cannot get anything to come with it. 2-1 Cardinals as we head to the 8th here on Tom Sox TV. Back here in Charlottesville, 2-1 Front Royal as we begin the 8th. Mike Eggert back on the mound. We have an update from Strasburg. The Woodstock River Bandits have taken a 3-2 lead. That game's in the bottom of the 10th right now. Strasburg only has a couple more outs to work with. They've got the leadoff runner on second base to begin the inning. So Strasburg, if they can't get that run to cross, their season will be over and Woodstock will advance to the semifinals. First pitch of the 8th for Eggert is fouled down the left field line. And it'll be Capozzi to lead things off for Front Royal here in the 8th. Capozzi so far 1 for 3, a leadoff single back in the first. Gets a breaking ball in the 0-1, drives it right back into the fence for strike 2.
Eggert now up to 90 pitches as there's still action in the Sox bullpen, but what he has done on the mound today, simply masterful stuff. Just had the one blip back in the 4th inning, giving up the 2-run home run to Drew Camp, but outside of that one mistake, he's been absolutely fantastic.
0-2 slider just misses on the chalk of the left-handed batter's box. So 1 and 2 will be the count. It continues to be Utagawa warming for Charlottesville. It seems like he's thrown an entire simulated appearance so far with the amount of pitches he's thrown just in the bullpen. 1-2 from Eggert. Slider. That time he gets Capozzi looking. A big first batter strikeout for Eggert. He's through 7 1/3.
Mike Eggert has just had full control of the off-speed pitch, and it's a thing of beauty freezing Capozzi there and make it back-to-back strikeouts for Eggert as he punched out Brody Black to end the top of the 7th, but he's just been a machine on the bump today.
A well-oiled machine as there's a line drive left field right to Garrett Spikes. He doesn't even have to move for the second out. And these pitchers just going pitch for pitch essentially, and it's going to be swing for swing, out for out. That's really been what we've seen all night long. It's only 8:36. We started at 7:01. We're in the top of the 8th inning.
Well, it's just crazy because you look at the first 2 games of this series and Front Royal comes into town and puts up 17 runs in Game 1, and then yesterday Charlottesville's offense explodes for 11, so it's been a very high-scoring series, but today it's been Game 3 ruled by the pitchers.
First pitch change up right there for Eggert to the number 3 hitter, Cameron Douglas, who's 0 for 3 so far. 2 pop-ups to Bryce Martinez at second. He also grounded out to Ford in his second at-bat. Drives this one to left. Spikes ranging in. He will make the play, a soft fly ball. And Mike Eggert threw 8 innings here in Charlottesville, his 4th 1-2-3 inning of the ball game. And yet the Tom Sox still trail 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. It'll be Arroyo, Fink, and Teal trying to at least get the game tied on the other side of this break here on Tom Sox TV. We're setting up for a great finish here in Charlottesville, but we just got word that there was a even crazier finish out in Strasburg. The Express trailing 3-2 in the bottom of the 10th to the Woodstock River Bandits on the fence, season on the line. Mitchell Smith delivers for the Express a walk-off 3-run homer to send Strasburg to the semifinal round, and Chris Arroyo begins the 8th inning with a single up the middle.
Arroyo now with a multi-hit game as he singled back in the 4th inning, and he's been one of the few guys throughout all 3 of these games in the postseason that has consistently brought it game in, game out. Saw him make an athletic grab on a pop-up earlier in the contest, and now picking up his 2nd hit, and he will get pinch ran for, I believe it's Sergio Rivera, and it is.
So Chris Arroyo, who's been red hot at the plate for Charlottesville, does his job with 2 hits, a leadoff single there in the 8th, and the Tom Sox will bring their stolen base leader in Sergio Rivera on to pinch run.
That's a big hit for Arroyo, just getting your leadoff guy on, and we talked about the speed that Sergio Rivera has had, feel like all year long. The guy is just a bona fide threat on the base pass, 26 stolen bases in 36 games played this year.
He holds on the first pitch, comes inside on Fink for ball number 1. Nathan is 0 for 3 in the game. He's hit the ball well 3 times. A hard ground ball in the 2nd to the shortstop Schultz, and then a line drive out to Capozzi in the 4th and a deep fly out to Capozzi in the 6th. Right there, fastball outside corner to even the count at 1.
Well, having a runner on, especially for Fink, who's been driving the ball all over the yard in the past few games, is paramount, and just a ball in the gap, Rivera could easily score.
There goes Rivera, ground ball to second, rather to the pitcher Harefield. He didn't have a play at second, and it's a good thing Rivera was taking off. If he wasn't off on the pitch, that's a 1-6-3 double play, killing all the momentum for Charlottesville. Instead, essentially just acts as a sacrifice, moving Rivera to second base.
That's exactly right. Now you have Rivera in scoring position with Aiden Teal, who's just crushed Front Royal pitching all series long, and it's a good spot to be in and a great call for a hit and run.
Rivera at second, dancing. He takes off to third. Teal swings, lines it up the middle. That's down for a base hit. Rivera around third, and the Tom Sox have tied it here in the 8th. Aiden Teal, who else? He stays hot. 2 homers yesterday, a game-tying RBI single here in the 8th, and we're knotted up at 2.
The 5th RBI for Aiden Teal so far in 3 games, and he is just continuing to torch the Cardinals pitching staff, and when you needed a hit, it was the man Teal who delivered it.
Aiden Teal with his 5th RBI of the series. And we are tied at 2, and here is Henry Ford, another dangerous hitter. An RBI double already today, 2 for 2 with a hit by pitches Henry. Began the season red hot, hit .500 over his first 4 games, then suffered a broken thumb in which he had to sit out 3 weeks. Returned to the lineup at the end of June, struggled for a couple weeks, but to end the regular season, he was mashing. A really rough Game 1 for him. Did not play in Game 2 yesterday. And a great game already for him here in Game 3. Can he add to it? At-bat extends right there, another ball. 3-0 the count on Henry Ford with Aiden Teal at first base, who's already tied things up with a single. Harefield's 3-0. That one nearly gets over the head of Popple, and Henry Ford works a 1-out walk, putting runners on second and first for Wiley. And Alex, if you're Lyndon Coleman right here, do you go to the bunt?
I think it's a interesting decision, but I feel like you kind of have to just with who you have on deck. And Salvi Alvarez, you move both runners up, hopefully 90 feet if it's a successful bunt from Wiley, and you get 2 runners on, and especially Teal, just 90 feet away for Alvarez, a guy who's just been absolutely raking, and this is a big spot for Wiley here.
Everybody can take a deep breath here at Cho Airport Field. Seems like the Tom Sox weren't going to get anything going, but all it took was a leadoff single for Chris Arroyo, failed hit and run, and then another single for Aiden Teal to tie things up at 2. We have a mound visit right here. Harefield will remain in the ballgame. There is another right-hander warming up for Front Royal in the bullpen. Can't quite tell who that is over for Front Royal. Actually, getting a second look at it, looks like Gabriel Moore warming up for Front Royal along the third base line. Here's Wiley, 2 runners on, 1 away. First pitch inside for ball 1. Wiley so far today 0 for 2. Did draw a walk in his last at-bat. Was stranded at first base when Alvarez grounded into a fielder's choice with the bases loaded. But a chance for Wiley to cement a legacy here in Charlottesville. A base hit likely puts the Tom Sox in front here in an elimination game in the first round of the VBL playoffs. And there is some good bats on the bench for Charlottesville if they do need or want to go to a bat here in this 8th inning. Teal at second, Ford at first. The 1-1 to Wiley, breaking ball down low for ball 2.
Well, Nathan, you mentioned the bats sitting on the bench for the Sox. Saw them bring in Sergio Rivera earlier this inning, but you still have the Notre Dame tandem in Brady Gump and Connor Hinks, and Brady Gump has been on an absolute tear. 6-game on base streak. He's 8 for 17 with a home run and 6 RBIs in that stretch.
2-1, fastball. Wiley thought about it, doesn't pull the trigger, and the count evens at 2-2.
And same with Hinks, too. He has a 16-game on-base streak paired with a 6-game hitting streak. He is just mashed at the dish so far, but Coleman sticking with Wiley, hopefully that is a worthwhile decision.
Wiley with a multi-hit game in Game 1, sits on a 2-2 breaking ball and fouls it off to keep the at-bat alive. Wiley, 8 multiple hit games this summer, including the playoffs. Only 9 RBIs during the regular season, 1 homer, 2 doubles. Not a guy that's going to hit for a lot of power. A lot of his hits are singles. And all it takes for Charlottesville would be a single to potentially take the lead here in Game 3. Harefield checks Teal, the 2-2. That one's down in the dirt. And a full count coming up here to David Wiley. Salvi Alvarez awaits on deck. The tying run could be on third, or the go-ahead run could be on third base following this pitch. The crowd starts to get into it. Harefield, the payoff delivery. Slider outside for ball 4, and the Sox have the bases loaded here in the 8th.
Well, Nathan, we talked about Dallas Harefield having command issues, and you've seen that so far in this inning, really struggling to find the zone. Back-to-back walks here to Ford and Wiley, and now it brings up Salvi Alvarez, who is just mashed so far in this postseason and to end the regular season.
Salvi Alvarez, 1 for 3 in the game. A single in the 5th. He flew out in the 3rd, and with the bases loaded in the 6th inning, he grounded into a fielder's choice to end the inning. He gets another opportunity right here with the bases loaded. Aiden Teal, who already drove in the tying run this inning, is on 3rd. Henry Ford, who drew a walk, is at 2nd. Wiley also drew a walk. He's at 1st. The Sox looking to advance to the semifinal round once again. Harefield out of the stretch. First pitch to Alvarez in there for strike 1.
And Drew Camp, the first baseman, playing in on the grass, maybe expecting just Salvi to try and slap something the other way and have Teal come in from 3rd, but Camp playing in on the infield grass.
Salvi squares to bunt, and he gets it down. Is it going to stay fair? No. Really interesting call there for Lyndon Coleman and company to try and go with the safety or suicide squeeze to try and get the go-ahead run across the plate. It doesn't work, and now Alvarez, down in the count 0-2, really takes the bunt out of the picture.
And we've seen the Sox employ small ball all year long, and a gutsy call from head coach Lyndon Coleman doesn't work to his advantage here.
Harefield now up in the count 0-2. Alvarez going to have to swing away. The pitch in the dirt, and a great block by Brody Popple behind the plate, saving a run there for Front Royal.
These blocks by the catchers, Alvarez and Popple, are going to start to add up, especially in this scenario when you have a runner just 90 feet away. You have to keep every pitch in the dirt in front of you, and a nice block by Popple there.
Charlottesville only mustered 1 run through 6 innings against P.J. Craig. They've gotten 1 here against Harefield in the 8th. Looking to add on to it. The 1-2 pitch. Down low, and that'll even the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Remember, only 1 out here, so if Alvarez were to strike out, it'll be up to Mr. Tom Sox, Garrett Spikes.
You know how fitting it would be if the bases were loaded and 2 outs and Garrett Spikes came up? Just Mr. Tom Sock, the guy who's done it all. Could be very fitting.
Could be fitting. Let's see what Alvarez does here. Ground ball, third base. The throw comes to the plate. Popple drops the ball, and Teal scores the go-ahead run. Front Royal had the play made. Popple drops the ball, and the Sox have their first lead tonight. It's 3-2.
Sometimes all you have to do is just put the ball in play, and Salvi Alvarez, just with a weak dribbler, and it looked like a routine play being made. Popple was sure to get the out at the plate, but he just couldn't squeeze that ball in, and just a routine play doesn't go the way of Front Royal, and Salvi Alvarez and company will take it.
A crushing blow for Front Royal. They had an out on the board. It'll go down as an E2. And now Garrett Spikes up with the bases loaded. Swings away, drives it just foul into the Tom Sox bullpen. So now this really changes the game and the strategy for Charlottesville. Now you're up by a run. Bases remain loaded. And you have the top of your lineup coming up. Garrett Spikes has been swinging a cold bat recently, but only takes 1 swing to potentially add another run or 2 onto the board.
Well, it also brings up the question of what do you do on the mound? You've had Dave Utagawa throwing over and over, and this has been a long inning for Mike Eggert, who has really just been waiting for a while. Has gone out to the mound just rather quickly as Charlottesville has struggled at the dish, but now Eggert just sitting, resting, letting his arm cool down. Curious to see if head coach Lyndon Coleman goes to his bullpen, brings in a guy like Udagawa or someone else, or just sticks it out with Eggert.
Also have many other arms loose in the Tom Sox bullpen. You'd think it would be Udagawa with the way he's been warming up the whole time, but anything's possible. Spikes down the count 0-2 with the bases loaded here in the 8th. Elevated curveball, he sends it to shallow right center field. Capozzi camps under it. Here comes Henry Ford. The throw home is up the line. It's a sacrifice fly for Garrett Spikes. He adds another run, and the Sox lead by 2.
Well, Garrett Spikes, over his 3-year career in Charlottesville, has had a lot of big moments, and that just another one there, adding on a crucial insurance run, making this ball game a 2-run game, and 4-2, and it seems to be the end of the line for Dallas Harefield.
Harefield, a 4-pitch 7th inning. All the momentum was in the hands of the Front Royal Cardinals, but a couple hits, a crucial error, and a sacrifice fly for Garrett Spikes have completely changed this ball game. The Sox lead 4-2 as a new arm enters the game for the Cardinals. Don't go anywhere. The Sox have flipped the script, and we'll finish the bottom of the 8th on the other side of this break. Top of the lineup now up for Charlottesville, and what an inning it's already been. 3 runs have crossed the plate, an Aiden Teal RBI single. An error by the catcher, Brody Popple, allows the go-ahead run to score, and a sacrifice fly for Garrett Spikes puts the lead now up to 4-2 for Charlottesville. Nathan Schwartz, Alex Rocca with you. Already had a great finish in the other VBL matchup tonight, a 3-run walk-off home run for Mitchell Smith out in Strasburg, and now Charlottesville looking to cap off the comeback with Kyle Edwards looking to add more insurance. He's got the batting gloves back on against Brantley Willis, the new arm for Front Royal.
You mentioned the batting gloves for Edwards and decided to go without the batting gloves for his first few at-bats and was 0 for 4, so decided to switch things back. And hopefully for Kyle and the Tom Sox, he gets a knock here and keeps the line moving.
Willis, a two-way player for the Cardinals, making his 5th appearance on the mound. As there's a one-hopper to the shortstop, he will make the throw to second. And Front Royal gets out of it finally, but 3 runs come to cross the plate for Charlottesville. The lead's up to 2, and the Sox are 3 outs away from a trip to the VBL semifinals. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the top of the 9th right after this on Tom Sox TV. 3 more outs for the Tom Sox, and they advance to the VBL semifinals. Nathan Schwartz, Alex Rocco with you, and let's give a round of applause for Mike Eggert. It looked like maybe in the 4th or the 5th inning his night was going to be over, but he goes all the way through the 8th, Alex.
Mike Eggert was fantastic. There's not enough adjectives to describe what this performance means for the Sox, and Eggert went 8 innings, gave up 5 hits, allowed just the 2 runs on the 2-run shot from Drew Camp. Didn't walk anyone, struck out 7. He was fantastic. His deepest start in a Tom Sock uniform, and it was exactly what they needed. And now Lyndon Coleman turns things over to Big Dave Utagawa.
David Utagawa, the rising senior at UC Irvine, spent the last 3 seasons at Northwestern. And now David is on for the save opportunity. His last appearance technically was on Wednesday against Purcellville, but with the resumption of the previous game, it goes in the book as an appearance, but he didn't throw any pitches. So the last time he was on the mound was last Sunday in the doubleheader at Winchester, where he struggled. He did give up 3 earned runs on 4 hits over 3 innings in Game 2 of that doubleheader against the Royals. But now, making his 8th appearance on the mound this summer. He's gone 20 innings, an ERA just south of 5 at 4.95. And just his 2nd appearance at home this season. And the first pitch is fouled away for strike 1. It's Popple in the batter's box for the Cardinals.
And before we go and continue to talk about Dave Utagawa, just want one more nugget about Mike Eggert. His start tonight tied for the 2nd longest in Tom Sox history, going 8 innings tonight.
That's exactly what Charlottesville needed, saving arms for this playoff push. Utagawa's 0-1 delivery fouled away. David sits 92-94 with his fastball. Slider in the mid to upper 80s as well. Has a sinker that he mixes in with the fastball and a changeup off of that slider. 0-2, goes to the slider and gets Popple swinging. Utagawa, 3 pitches, 1 out.
That was a big strikeout for Utagawa as Popple started the rally back in the 4th inning, had that leadoff triple where the next hitter, Drew Camp, went yard just a couple of pitches after that, but a big strikeout for Utagawa to set things down and now you have 1 out in the inning, 2 outs left to close out this game and move on to the next round, but it all starts with 1. That was a big out for Utagawa.
First pitch, fastball down low. This is Drew Camp, who hit the 2-run blast for Front Royal all the way back in the 4th inning that at the time gave them a 2-0 lead. They held that lead all the way through the bottom of the 8th inning. And now Utagawa trying to shut the door for the Sox. 1-0 delivery, fastball. That one just misses. So they count quickly 2-0 to the hottest bat in the Cardinal lineup.
Well, that's why it was paramount to get Popple out, as Camp has gone yard 3 times against the Sox pitching staff throughout the season, so you want to face him with as little guys on base as possible.
That one spiked. It goes over the glove of Alvarez, and now a 3-0 count here for Utagawa against Camp. David, opponents hitting .288 against him so far. He's given up 3 home runs this year. That has been somewhat of an issue for him this summer. 3-0 fastball. That one just misses the top of the zone, and there's a 1-out walk for Drew Camp.
Well, just Utagawa lost control on that at-bat, but now it brings up the tying run in Daniel Stevens. Stevens not really with a whole lot of pop out of his bat.
And now Stevens, who's 1 for 3 tonight, a single in his last at-bat to lead off the 7th, reached on an error in the 2nd, lined out in the 4th, represents the tying run. This one spiked for Utagawa, and he's thrown 5 consecutive balls.
Well, just like Utagawa is putting too much pressure on himself, trying to overthrow pitches, it is a big moment in this game, obviously, with the series in the balance, but just a nice decision by Alvarez to go out to the mound, calm his pitcher down, get on the same page, and let Dave get back to doing Dave things. As we saw when he's on his game, he punched out Popple in just 3 pitches.
Utagawa, just the 2nd time he's come out of the bullpen this summer. The first time was all the way back in his first appearance on June the 13th. There's finally a strike for Utagawa. Salvi Alvarez calmed him down in that mound visit, and he's able to get back to an even count.
You know, Salvi's always a calming presence, likes to laugh, keep things loose, and that's exactly what you need in a spot like this.
1-1 from David. Another swing and a miss from Daniel Stevens, and the count moves to 1-2. Utagawa's been basically either a guy that's not going to give up any runs or a guy that gives up a couple of runs each time he goes out there. He's given up 3 runs in 3 separate appearances. Goes to the slider right there, 1-2. It's outside. But right here, Lyndon Coleman hoping it can be one of those appearances where he goes 1-2-3 and is able to get out of here with a win. Camp, the runner at first after the walk. That ball down low, so a full count here from Utagawa to Stevens. Utagawa, 6'4", 230 pounds, transferring to UC Irvine, a native of Phoenix, Arizona. Payoff delivery, fastball. That one catches the outside corner. He got him looking. Second strikeout of the inning for Utagawa, and one more out for a trip to the semifinals.
That was absolutely painted in the strike zone. Excellent command on the fastball from Utagawa to get the punch out, and now Front Royal down to its final out.
It's going to be up to Taylor Schultz, who's 1 for 3 in the ball game, a single back in the second inning. Struck out looking in the 4th, flew out in the 7th. First pitch from Utagawa's down low for ball 1. Utagawa has given up 10 walks this summer over now 20 and 2/3 innings. Make that 11 walks if you include the one he gave up to Camp just a few moments ago. 1-0, elevated fastball and foul for Schultz to even the count at 1.
That foul ball was sponsored by Greenwood Homes.
Schultz is a guy who struggled heading into the postseason, went just 2 for 24 in his last 7 games, but had 3 hits in the first 2 games, also picked up a single in this contest.
1-1, driven to right, Fink on the move. It's going to drop in fair territory. Here comes Fink's throw. It goes all the way to third base. Schultz will advance to second, and the drama builds here for Front Royal and Charlottesville. Down to a 1-1 count. Taylor Schultz drills a double down the right field line, and now the tying run stands at second base for Jaden Anderson.
And that was a very confusing play, as Schultz didn't know if that ball was fair or foul. Sort of just stopped on his path, running to second base, and now it's ruled a fair ball, and now you have 2 runners in scoring position for arguably the guy that has given this Tom Sock pitching staff the most fits this year.
Mike Egger really didn't have any trouble throughout his 8 innings. The lone trouble he faced was that leadoff triple in the 4th, which immediately was gone after the 2-run homer cleared the bases. Now for Utagawa, really hard spot. And for him, he's been warming up since that 4th inning, so he's been just itching to get out there. Just talking to him, he is a guy that loves the sport. He wants to go out there every day if he could. He's been a guy that started a lot of games, and with the rainouts and such, he's only pitched about once a week this summer. So finally getting a chance to pitch after a week, only going to get the 1 inning, and he's been warming up for about an hour now. How difficult is that for him, Alex?
Well, it's extremely difficult, especially because Utagawa is a guy who is used to not coming out of the bullpen. He started so many games this year, so anytime you're consistently warming up over and over and you're not sure when your number is going to get called, you have to stay in that game-ready mentality, and it just eats on you. So now Dave finally gets his number called up in a huge spot facing Jaden Anderson. Curious to see if they try and pitch around Anderson, a guy who's went yard against the Sox 2 or 3 times this year.
The intentional walk definitely had to have been considered right there with first base open and 2 outs. It's going to go down as a single and an advancement on the throw for Schultz. Now Jaden Anderson can tie the game with a base hit. Utagawa will work out of the wind. The first pitch, fastball, outside corner, strike 1. Anderson in the game today is 0 for 3, a strikeout, fly out, and a foul out back in his last at bat. Utagawa, the 0-1. Breaking ball in there for strike 2, and the Cardinals have 1 strike remaining in their season.
Maybe that mound visit was all that David Utagawa needed, just came back, refocused, and now Front Royal looking to stay alive here.
Runners on second and third. 0-2 is the count. 2 away here in the ninth. The pitch. Swung on and missed. Utagawa shuts the door, and the Sox are headed to the semis. There was a lot of drama. Tom Sox trailed going into the bottom of the eighth. They score 3. Then Utagawa gets 3 outs in the top of the ninth, and the Tom Sox avoid the upset. They move on to the semifinals tomorrow night, where they will take on the Woodstock River Bandits right here at Cho Airport Field. Alex, a valiant comeback effort. Really no energy throughout the first 7.5 innings. They were able to respond in the 8th, and then Utagawa working out of a jam in the 9th, but able to get Anderson out on 3 pitches.
Well, Nate, it all starts with this pitching performance that the Sox got from Michael Eggert tonight when 8 innings allowed just the 2-run home run to Drew Kemp, 5 hits, struck out 7, but allowing Eggert to go 8 innings was exactly what this pitching staff needed because it saved a lot of arms. Utagawa comes in the 9th, gives up the 1 hit, walks 1. Things got a little dicey, but Utagawa 3 punch-outs, closes the door, but it was just the rally and especially the UVA duo in Aiden Teal and Henry Ford in the middle of the Sox lineup. Teal went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Ford went 2 for 2 with an RBI, and that was exactly what they needed. Also, contributions from Salvi Alvarez, Garrett Spikes at the bottom of the order. Both of those guys had RBIs, and just like that, the Sox pull out a 4-2 victory, and they're on to the next round.
They sure are, and for Front Royal, the season comes to an end for them. Under 500 regular season, they came into the postseason 21-23, put up 24 hits and 17 runs in Game 1 on Thursday, but then a 10-run deficit defeat last night at Bing Crosby Stadium, setting up for this do-or-die Game 3. They had the lead pretty much all the way through, fought until the very end. A valiant effort for them, but in the end, the Charlottesville Tom Sox, the number 1 seed for a reason. They've been coming back from behind all season long. They do it again tonight and keep their season alive. Michael Eggert, 8 innings. Utagawa comes in, gets 3 clutch outs in the 9th, and the Sox live to see another day. We believe the format will look like this. Charlottesville will be in a best-of-3 against Woodstock starting tomorrow here at Cho Airport Field, with Harrisonburg hosting Winchester in a 3-game series. Strasburg with the 3-run homer to win. So Strasburg and Charlottesville will face off in the 3-game series.
We've seen a lot of close games between the Express and the Tom Sox, so it should be, if everything holds true to form, it should be another exciting series here at Cho Airport Field. But you just have to give credit to this Front Royal squad. They came in and absolutely shocked the Tom Sox in Game 1. They put up 17 runs. You mentioned the 24 hits, but after dropping Game 1, it seemed like the Sox were a way more focused team in Game 2, and then they started slow in Game 3, but picked it up at the end. Have to credit the pitching staff, but also you do have to shout out Front Royal. They came to play in this series, not your typical 8 seed.
4 teams remain in the Valley Baseball League, and it's the top 4 seeds. Charlottesville versus Strasburg, Harrisonburg versus Winchester for a trip to the championship series. It's going to be a fun few days here in the Valley Baseball League. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight here in Charlottesville. For all of our Tom Sox TV staff and crew and Alex Rocco, I'm Nathan Schwartz signing off from Cho Airport Field. We'll talk to you tomorrow night in Game 1 of the VBL semifinals. Have a good night, everybody.